Go. Welcome everybody to, we're streaming live today for the first time on my timeline and not in the Magnetic Marketing group because there was some technical issue, but we're gonna transfer it to the group then. And anyway, maybe we got some new live viewers here. Magnetic Talk is a series I launched this year to bring to you inspiring, interesting, amazing personalities on a regular basis. We're going to talk about mindset, about marketing, about life models. Most of my guests are women, female entrepreneurs, and all of them have a lot to tell us about their story and to give us insights, to give us inspiration. And today I'm super, super excited about my guest, Waltraud Hable. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Joining us live from Mexico. Guys, you've seen my announcement. Waltraud is journalist, author. She's a world traveler. And I'm super excited to chat with her today about her new way of life, her new book launch, and we're doing this in English, so many more people can tune in. The book is in German though, but I think there's a lot we can chat about, and so you can listen to Waltraud's life and lifestyle in English. And Waltraud, we dive right into it. First thing I'm gonna ask you, and I'm asking all my guests, is please tell us a little bit about your personal story and your background.
Okay, so thank you for having me. My name is Waltraud. I'm 42 years old. I grew up in Upper Austria, like a small village in Upper Austria. Currently, I call myself a nomad and world traveler and book author. So I am in Puerto Vallarta at the moment, which is the Pacific coast of Mexico. And I've been on the road in 2 days, it's going to be 2 years. That I've been living out of my suitcase, traveling the world as a journalist, as an author, bringing stories from all over the world to readers for Austrian magazines. And I started out as a world traveler, and I think I have evolved into living the nomad lifestyle, which was a lifestyle that I've always wanted to live. I always thought, oh, how are people going to do it, you know, that can live in different countries? And I never found a way to do it. Seems like I found it for now. I don't know how long it's going to last, but for now it's going good. So this is there any more background that you need? I don't know.
I think that's the most exciting background we can all hear. So you told us, so it's your anniversary shortly, 2 year anniversary.
Yeah, May 5th.
So tell us what happened 2 years ago when you took this big decision, when you changed your life, and what triggered this, and how did you come to this decision? I guess it was a process. Please tell us about it.
It was a process. It was not like one thing that triggered it, like one big drama or trauma. It was more a lot of questions that I asked myself. So the first question was, is this the life that I want? And the answer was no. The current life that I had, working in an editorial office 9 to 5, having a great job, having great colleagues, but there was always something missing. Then the other question was, why don't I feel passion anymore? I didn't feel any passion. Like I really had to force myself to find hobbies, and it was just like numbing myself sort of, but I wanted something else. And then I realized everything I want is on the other side of fear, because what keeps me from having the life that I was dreaming was mostly fear. So I was analyzing my fear. What am I afraid of? Am I going to be afraid of being broke? Am I going to be afraid of, I don't know, not finding people that are like-minded, that you can't do that lifestyle? I also got an autoimmune disease, which was a warning call. My skin ate up itself. Nothing serious, but you know, like in the early stages of having an autoimmune disease, you just feel like, why is this happening? And I have enough psychological background to know that autoimmune also means autoaggression. So what was my autoaggression against? So it was basically, I wasn't happy in my life, but I needed to change something, and having it black and white, like having a doctor's prescription telling me that I needed steroids in order to be better, that was just the last warning call that I said, okay, now I really need to do something. And the other thing is, it was not that I said, oh, now I'm going to change my life. I have changed my life before. I went on a world trip. I've done this numerous times. Like I went to live in New York for a little while to work there. I went to live in Miami. I also went on a world trip all by myself for a year, which was in 2016. And I had experienced that freedom. And once you have that freedom and you can see your inner rhythm, like what really makes you thrive and what really makes you, I don't know, blossom, then you can't forget about it. And for me, I always did the thing, I went away and I came back. I went away and came back. And it's very, very tiring because, you know, you just have to give up your apartment and you have to go other places. You have to deconstruct your life, rebuild your new life. So I've done this numerous times and it just didn't make me happy. So because I was always happy when I was experiencing new things. And then when I got back into the 9 to 5, I was just like, this is it. So this time I said, I'm going to try something that I've never, ever tried before. I'm not going to come back. So I'm just gonna, so this was the only, you know, like I've done the other things. So for me, it was just like, okay, let's try something because there seems to be a pattern here. There seems to be something. It's not like that I'm afraid of taking big and bold steps. It's just like I'm not like thinking it through and I'm not following it through. So in the end, I just said, this time I'm just going to go forward and not like backwards anymore. There's just one direction and that is the unknown. So this is what I did. So it was a lot of little things. And in the end, you know, sometimes there's a reason or there's a point in life where you cannot not do it because there's like so many reasons piling up that make sense for you, not necessarily for others. Like my friends and family, they were not really convinced of what I was doing, but it made sense for me. So on May 5th, 2019, I took off with a suitcase that's 23 kilos, one piece of hand luggage, one-way ticket from Vienna to Bangkok, and 1,000 dreams with me. But so far, it's been good.
Wow, wow, what an adventure. And the 1,000 dreams, the list, I'm sure it's still very, very long. So there's a lot of people dreaming about the life you're having and also envying you, I'm sure. Not about only the courage, but also like they dream of indefinite travel, adventures, freedom, beach life. But honestly, I think we all know, we are aware that it's not 365 days of sunshine and sipping mojitos by the beach. What would you say? How have these last 2 years, how have you been, like overall, emotionally, and what were your major steps, your milestones over those 2 years?
So you're absolutely right. It's not only sipping mojitos by the beach because mojitos are expensive. You know, and when you travel, it's not like having the spa visit and the mojitos all the time. And there's language struggles. There's the struggle of where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to find what I need? Where am I going to find food? Where am I going to find public transport? It's like starting anew all the time, like in a certain period of time. Emotionally, it's been a roller coaster, but with a lot more ups than with downs. So it's been going slowly. Like you come there and you're really hesitant. You start traveling, you start sorting your way out, and then you experience this high because you're like, hey, I really did it, and I really like what I'm doing. I had an extreme low when I almost died of food poisoning. In India. That was tough because when you're traveling by yourself and you don't even have someone to bring you water and you don't know if you have a parasite inside living of you. So that was a definite low. And I didn't know how to get out of that low, but I found a way and I went up again. But overall, my mood has been really good with a few lows, but the lows taught me that I need to listen more to my inner voice than I did before, because sometimes even though you're following your path, it takes a while until you really know what you want, because their path is set out, but how you do things is not necessarily how you need to do things. Sometimes you do them because they need to be done that way, but it's not for you, right? That's what I mean by listening to your inner voice. And when I had this extreme low after my food poisoning, I was done. I didn't know, do I want to go on? Is this for me? Maybe I just want it too much. And I had a lot of obligations. Like I had a blog that I was writing and people were asking, what's wrong with you? Why are you not writing? I had a story for a magazine and they were like, we're on a deadline. Come on, do it. And I just couldn't. I had too much in too little time and I was just drained. And I felt bad because I should have felt great. You know, I'm living the dream and I'm doing it all right, but still I felt very drained and I didn't have the strength to get up again. And I was really in bed for 3 weeks in Thailand. So I flew myself to Thailand from India to go to a hospital. Then I rented an apartment and I was in bed for 3 weeks. And I thought, what is really, what can keep me going? And I found that I need to surround myself with a lot of beauty. Because this is what made me travel in the first place, to just see something beautiful that your eyes can grasp. And I just canceled all my obligations for a little while and just did what I had to do for a few weeks. After that, my heart felt full again and I was ready to go on that. But that was really important to learn that step, that even though the path is set, you still need to listen to your inner voice, what you really need. And it might not make sense to everyone else, and it might not be the most economical or ecological way of traveling, but I had to do what my heart told me to do.
Wow, that's an amazing story about India. I'm sure many of us would have just, you know, packed their bags and gone home.
Yeah, but it wasn't, I told myself I've come this far, so it's food poisoning and I'll get over it. It would have been exhausting to go on a plane back to Vienna, and it would have been exhausting not having an apartment there and staying at my sister's couch. So, I mean, my options were kind of like, you got to figure it out there. And this is what I strongly believe in, you know, when you can solve any problem no matter where you are. Sometimes people say, oh, isn't it like dangerous to travel all by yourself? No, it's not, because it's like you managed to not kill yourself in Austria for like 30, 40 years and to be diligent and to be responsible. So this doesn't mean that my brain shuts off just because I'm on travels. So no, it wasn't an option to go back, but I was struggling.
Yeah. I also had the experience that when you said your brain shut down, it's like you feel more alert. I think you always feel more alert when you're traveling, and not also in a negative sense that you're always fearful or something around the corner, but you're just taking it in more. You're more aware of the things happening around you, right?
I call it street smartness. Yeah, it's like it teaches you not to. It teaches you to really have a look at what's around you. Sometimes we just wander through the streets and we couldn't even tell what's going on because, you know, if someone asks you, okay, tell me what you just saw in the past 5 minutes, you wouldn't know because it all seems so known. But when you go into the unknown, your eyes have to be open and your senses have to be open. And I kind of like that. I even like that in cities where it's kind of, you know, where you feel that there's a lot of crime going on and stuff. It just makes you alert and it just makes you street smart.
Right. Beautiful. So when was this episode in India? Let's call it episode. Was it like a year ago or?
No, it was 4 months after I started my travels. And the problem was not just the food poisoning. So I went to a great restaurant. It was not that I ate at a street stall or something, but you never know with India, you know, you get like food poisoning sooner or later. For me, I think the problem was that in those first 4 months, because I was so excited to be on the road again and to try out all different kinds of jobs, I didn't just go travel because on my first world trip, I traveled the world and I knew how to blow money and to travel. But this time I wanted to do something where I could learn more from the world and be useful to the world. So I did some volunteering stops along the way, also to try out things. I never had a gap year. Like we all, you know, as it is there's the gap year thing. That's a very common thing in England and in Australia. Like people, they graduate from high school and before they go to university or to college or whatever they want to do, they just take a year of traveling. And I think that's a very important step to reconsider what you've learned and make sure if it works for you, and just unlearn the learned, so to speak. And I never had that. And I felt like, okay, now I'm 40 years old. Maybe it's about time to ask myself, is journalism the right thing for me? Maybe I would be a perfect gardener. Maybe I would be perfect in social work, but I would never find out if I wouldn't try out. So since I already took the risk of like go traveling, I might as well try out different kinds of jobs and volunteering stuff in order to see if something really ignites something in me. So I did that for the first 4 months, and I went crazy. I went like, I went to work in India in the house of the dying of Mother Teresa, not because I'm Catholic, because I thought that working with elderly people teaches you something, like death teaches you something about life. I worked at a website in Vietnam, writing in English. I worked for hippies in Hawaii. I was like cleaning toilets and kind of like putting that dream of having an Airbnb or like a hostel aside, because when you have a house by the beach, it's a lot of windows cleaning. And it's like, you know, because they always smear from the salt water. And it's also that when you have a house by the beach, people come from all over the world, but you were stuck there. So that was good to do that, because it just told me that dream is not working for me. So I did a lot of those things in those 4 months, and then I had food poisoning, and I was just emotional overload. I guess that's what it was. You meet so many people, you have to adapt to so many situations. And I found out it was just too fast and too much for me. And I needed to just reduce the speed a bit in order to be better. And so that was a very valuable lesson, but it was a very painful one too.
Okay, I can imagine. I still remember the article I was reading about your, the story in India, yeah, the Mother Teresa house you worked. Yeah, speaking of your still main job, it is, I think, you're a journalist. So you're writing, and of course, there's a lot of people saying, yes, sure, she's a writer, she's a journalist. Magazines pay her adventures, so then she writes an article about it. I'm sure you had this a million times. What's your answer to this perceived easy lifestyle you're having out there?
Well, let me tell you, it's not an easy lifestyle, because first and foremost, the magazine that I'm working for does not pay for my adventures. They don't pay for flights. They don't pay for accommodation. I'm a plain freelancer, so I pitch stories to them and they take them or not. That's pretty much it. But whatever expenses I have, they're not covering. Second, I'm working for the German speaking market. So that's a very small market when you are, and I'm working in the travel section. So, I mean, I do other stories too, but it's a tiny market. If I would be able to write in English, it would be a lot easier. And, you know, I would have a wider audience, but I'm not, because I can express myself better in German. And, you know, I rather give my best than my half best in English, sort of. And the third one is, it was not that my magazine said, yeah, great, we're supporting you to do this. It was, I really had to quit my job. And because for a magazine, it's hard to plan. When you don't know where you're going, where you're going to be next, what are they going to do with you? You know, if you have a correspondent, it's a different story, because you have that correspondent sitting there and waiting for, like, to do stories for you. But if you have like this wannabe hippie chick who is just like who's traveling and like following her heart, it's kind of hard to work with her. So when I did my first world trip, I quit my job. When I started on this trip, I quit my job, and it was only like a week or two before I left that people were like, okay, you think you can do some stories for us maybe? And it was a long process, because they knew how I worked. They knew that it was my passion and they couldn't keep me. They also knew that I had done my first book. So that kind of gave me a little bit of credit, but it was not like that I said, hey, I'm this journalist and I can like so easily work from everywhere and you guys are going to support me. So it was years in the making. And it was a lot of conscious decisions that made me do it. And it was funny, because when I took off this time, I gave up my apartment and everything. So, you know, you go through your stuff, what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. And I have some stuff stored at my grandma's in Upper Austria. And I found some articles that I was keeping. As a journalist, when you are in the beginning of your career, you always keep articles that you're proud of, sort of. I mean, you also do a lot of shitty articles like on finance that you're never proud of, or like on bonsai exhibitions. But I kept those articles, and for a reason, and apparently the reason was that I always was looking for ways to travel or to work abroad. So I kept those articles about women who were doing the same thing, like who were doing a nomad lifestyle. And I kind of like realized that I had a focus, and this focus been going on for 15, 20 years. And with all those interviews that I took and with all the people that I spoke to, I guess they all prepared me for the life that I have now, because with everything you learn something, even though you don't know right now, but there was a certain interest from my side. And I guess, yeah, you could also call it a, I don't know, passion fetish or whatever. So
it looks like it sounds like you had your personal vision board, your dreams somewhere. Like,
I didn't have it that way. Like right now I would say yes. It would.
Oh, you would do a vision board, right? And put it on the wall.
But I had this overall dream, you know, sometimes it got in the background. Sometimes it was more in the it was more there. But yeah, it would have been a vision board if I would have known the term vision board back then. But it definitely, so it was a process, and no, it's not an easy lifestyle. There would be other jobs that would be easier, like, you know, working, programming something, working for the Silicon Valley. That's what would make it easy, but not my journalist, wannabe hippie lifestyle.
I have two more questions on this. Maybe somebody else is thinking about this too, because you said you pitch your articles to them. Are you like doing research, or something's coming into your eye of an adventure or an experience you want to do, and you pitch it up front to the magazines, or you just go ahead and do it anyway, write about it, and then pitch the article about it to them?
No, I have to pitch beforehand, but the way I do it is I really try to, for the magazine that I'm writing for, they give me a lot of freedom. They like say, okay, if you want to try out something. So it lives also from me being a personality, which is again the process of many years. And so I usually go to a destination and I do something that I want to do anyway. Like in Rio, I wanted to learn samba, and I didn't know if it would be a story, but I still went ahead and did it. And then the magazine is coming out every 2 months, so that doesn't mean that I'm very stressed about like deadlines in that regard. So I told them, listen, I just started Samba. You might be interested in that. And they're like, well, yeah, what is it about? So I told them all about the story and pitched it to them. Sometimes I just look for a story, what would be interesting in the area, but it always has to be something that interests me. It's not about because it's about travel, and it always has me in the middle, sort of like experiencing from a newbie's perspective. So in that regard, I'm lucky. But for other stories that I do, like also on health and well-being, I just, you know, I look at certain themes and ask them if this would be okay for them. So then I do regular work.
Are you, is it like can I ask you, is it like an exclusive thing, or are you able to pitch?
No, it's not an exclusive thing. I was just too lazy to connect with other. It went well because I didn't know how much traveling and how much writing I could do in the beginning. Because the first year, since I'm on the road, it was a lot of volunteering too. So, you know, I wanted to try that out, and I knew I would, the first year I would be living off savings a lot. So it just gradually became more. Now I'm looking into like 2 more magazines that I'm working with, but I don't know yet. I'm also, the journalistic thing is one thing, but I think in the long run, if you live a lifestyle like me, you also need to have your own brand and you to have your own business, because then you don't have to rely on one employer, so to speak, or one boss. So there's also the idea of doing something with, you know, like in the coaching thing, because a lot of women that have that dream, they might go to a coach, but the coach might not know how to travel. They don't know about the struggles that I do. So there's, and I see a big need for that. So there's a few branches that I'm looking into. Some more magazines, doing my own thing. And it's going to take years. It's not going to be easy, but you got to think ahead, because I really want to keep that lifestyle and not go do the back and forth game again.
Yeah, that's exciting. Wow, coaching, definitely.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I can call it coaching, or let's call it, I don't know, to advise people.
Yeah.
Because I get so many letters like from people asking me about insurance, a lot of them asking me about, like little things. And when you really dig deeper, then you see that they just want to hear that they're going to be okay. And I can do that, because if I can make it, anyone can do it. It's like, I'm not the perfect traveler, or I'm not the perfect nomad. I travel with heavy luggage. I do a lot of things wrong, but I think what I do good is to really find out what that inner voice is and follow it. Because once you follow that inner voice, everything just falls into place. Everything becomes a lot more easy than if you just try to be someone else.
So true. I liked it a lot. That I remember you're traveling with a suitcase. You're not a backpacker.
Yep, I'm that, the suitcase is easier for my brain, because you just open it up and there's two parts. So you just have, one part with, what is, but in a backpack, you always have to just, I don't know, look for your stuff.
It's always messy. No matter how organized you are, it's always messy.
There is always chaos.
Definitely. So let's quickly touch on your second book, For Everything Around the World. What's the difference between the first and the second book, and why should we all read the second book?
Good question. No, the first book is about me taking baby steps into this life and into world traveling, and also dating a bit around the world. It's more for beginners. I think the second book it has matured with me. With the first book, I was like mid-30s. Now I'm like 40 plus. And the second book is about, it's not enough to dream. You need to, people say, oh, if I just have the right dreams, I can fulfill my dreams. No, it's not. You have to do more than dreaming. And I think this is the lesson that I learned. It's great to have dreams. Everything starts with a dream, but you really need to take action in order to make that dream come true. And I guess that was the lesson that I learned throughout the book. And it was a lot of trial and error. It was a lot of, me going places and sometimes going zigzag and not the straight route. But when you go zigzag, you see more so that's what it is. And to me, I really grew from a traveler to, I think, a woman who knows how to fulfill her dreams. And I haven't asked myself the question, what if, for a very long time. And I like to keep it that way. And I think that's what the message of the book is. You don't have to have that travel dream. It's like, you can have any kind of dream. It's just as long as you start thinking like that. I always say, when I started thinking like a world traveler, then world traveling was within reach. I've been dreaming about it for 15 years, but I didn't take the right actions. I didn't talk to the right people. I didn't start saving money, because I wanted it all. I wanted to have my nice clothes and my car and my nice apartment, but I also wanted to have world travel. And if you want to do that, if you start thinking like a world traveler, then you think, should I really get that dress for 70 euros? These 70 euros might buy me a night or two in a nicer accommodation. So it equals freedom. So whatever money I don't spend right now, I have later on. So this was like an important step for me. And then it's also surrounding yourself with like-minded people, because if you stick with your people, which are great friends and great confidence and whatever, but sometimes you need people that push you a little further and that have the same vision. So you need to really step out of your comfort zone and try to look for these people, ask them, how do you do it? Like I did with those interviews. Of course, I was disguising it as a job, but anyone can do it. You can read the right books. You can just follow the right people on your, so make your bubble the right bubble. So it all starts with the mind. And I guess that's what the second book is about. It's really get going and do it the right way.
I'm sold. Wow. Sounds like really a personal development.
I hope I didn't promise enough.
I mean, you disguise it on the world travel and the Nomad Life thing, which is beautiful, which we all, not everybody, but 9 out of 10 people would love to experience. But at the end of the day, as you say, it's so much more. It's about mindset, about taking action, about surrounding yourself with the right people. It's about the inner growth you need to have. So you have to well,
and for me, it's really about, I just take someone, because as I said, we just before we went live, we talked about it. And I was looking for people, you know, women who had something to lose, who were not like 20, who were had an established career, who had like a life, and it was a very good life on the outside and on the inside too. It was just like that their heart was missing something. And I was always looking for people to take me by the hand and, you know, guide me out of there. And I couldn't find that many. So when I wrote that book, maybe it was like a very high intention. Maybe some people don't see it when they read it. But my intention was, I really want to provide something that takes people by the hand and say, hey, I'm like your friend. If I can do it, just see my struggles, see whatever, and then you can do it too. It's more or less to give inspiration, not like day-to-day advice, like this is how you do it, but it's more like if you get inspiration, if your heart is like, I can do this, then people get going.
Yeah, so beautiful. I can't wait to read it. I'm really looking forward to it. So another quick question in between. You wrote a first book, a second book. I don't think you're finished, right? There's more to come.
For now, yes, I am finished, because I feel like I've said everything, I poured everything what's in there. I don't know if I could do a third book on this theme, and writing a book is kind of tiring. It's also a very exhausting process. I ate a lot of chocolate and you have a lot of doubts. And in between you feel like, who's gonna read it? And I don't know if it's necessarily sane to be with yourself like for months because you're tied to a desk and write about yourself. It's a lot about me. So sometimes it's better to have other people, but I don't know, whatever comes up. Maybe there's a new theme or a new topic that would spark interest and that I would like to write about. But for now, I think the travel things are done.
Okay, awesome. I have a couple more questions from our community. Yeah. And of course, everybody's wondering, do you ever get homesick?
No.
I knew it. I knew it.
No, because I think I don't get homesick because I have great friends and family that support me. So for me, I'm on the phone a lot with them. I'm not like a texting person, so they can always reach me on WhatsApp. And I know when I need support, I can have it. My parents are very supportive. They're like, you do your thing, you know, whatever you want to do. My friends haven't gotten it quite in the first round, but now they're like, yeah, she's getting away with it and she needs to do that. So I can call them and talk about my problems and have like regular stuff. But homesick, no, because I feel like the world, wherever home isn't four walls. It's like, and it's not four walls and the door. For me, it's where I can be my best. And I feel like I can be my best when my curiosity is being challenged, when my brain has to learn something new. I also need sunshine, and that's not provided a lot in Austria. I mean, I know it's perfect in the summertime, but it sounds so shallow and so superficial that I say, oh, I need sunshine to be happy. But, you know, my body has one task less. It doesn't need to keep warm. And seeing the sun just, in my mood is just better. So I'm trying to have a setting where I feel really good. And that's why I say I don't get homesick. Not that I'm unhappy in Austria. It just doesn't fulfill all the needs that I have for now. Maybe that might change. Maybe I feel like, oh, Austria is the greatest place and I need to return. But for now, no.
Okay. Do you have like you have like weekly calls with your family, your sister, or is it just on a random basis?
It's on a random basis whenever we feel like what we need to do. It's not like we have a set day. I think I talk with my mom every 2-3 weeks or something, but my sister's very important to me. So she texts me and then we call, I don't know, every 10 days, but it's really random when something comes up, when she has something she wants to talk, or friends even, or, you know, they support me with the book. It's really nice to see that they're like watching, okay, is there any Amazon reviews? Because I can't read them. I can read them from Mexico, but I can't read them emotionally, because I feel like when people criticize your book, this is not about, they can criticize my style of writing, but it's not fiction that I'm writing nonfiction. So I'm writing about my life. So that's why they at least keep an eye on what's going on. And then if they feel the need to inform me, they do so. So which is amazing. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be without them in this world.
Okay, that sounds really great. And they come visit, right? Once in a while. Sometimes.
They come visit once in a while, even though I'm like hesitant on the visits. Like my sister came to visit me and a friend too in Mexico, because this was one of the few countries that they could travel with Corona. But with visiting, it's different with that lifestyle, because when people come, they feel like they're on vacation. They're gonna blow all their money within 2 weeks, and they want to experience the best, you know, the best restaurants, the best, I don't know, trips, hikes, whatever you can do. But for me, it's a different kind of traveling. Like I usually work Monday through Friday, and then I try to explore the area on the weekends. And of course, I explore new restaurants or whatever during the week. But it's a different kind, and it's not always a good match to have visitors come with long-term travelers, because it's a different kind of money setting. Money is an issue, you know, when you're on vacation, you just blow it. And I feel like this, I don't know, poor little mouse that I just can't afford it, or the one that spoils their fun. And it's also, I have to work. It's not like always, as you said, it's not like always mojitos and like sunbathing. So I have a life here, and I need to pursue this. That's why I try to keep visitors at a very, well, not so regular base. And it also keeps you from meeting new people, because when you're constantly having visitors around, you don't need anyone. But I want to meet new people, and I want to make new friends.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I think that's one of the priorities when you travel, right?
Yeah.
New people.
Mm-hmm.
Make new friends. I have a guess, but I'm not sure if it's right. Is there one place in the world you will always keep going back to, except maybe Austria one day, but one other place in the world you really have your heart and soul and you want to go back to?
It changes a lot, but for now, it's Rio de Janeiro, because Rio, it's a weird story, because I've been to Rio a few years back on my first road trip. It didn't, I mean, it was fine, but it was not, you know, was not like, oh, I need to stay here. When after the food poisoning and after the I need to fill myself with beauty thing, I went to different locations, and the last inch of getting better, I thought, where am I going to go next? Like my mind was fine, my body was half fine, but I still needed a bit of recovery. And the first thing that came to mind was Rio de Janeiro. Why? Because it's easy. It sounds superficial. And I know a lot of people, they think that Rio is mostly crime and favelas, and maybe, I don't know, lying on the beach. It's more than that. To me, it just provides the life that makes things easy for me. It has an abundance of fresh fruit and vegetables. It's like everything grows in Brazil. Then it's walkable. You don't need like a taxi, so you can walk around, so it's easy. You can do sports. You are out in nature. It's like surrounded by hills, by green hills, and you can go for hikes all the time. It has this passion for life. There's samba music everywhere. So I went there, and when my plane was going down, and you see Cristo Redentor, you know, like the Christ, and it was just like, ooh, getting excited, and it felt like there's something waiting for me there. And when I went this time, I was like, this time I want to be like one of those proud South American women, because I'm not, like, I'm a stiff European and I can't dance. So I thought, this is really, if I need to fill my heart with joy, then I really want to learn in my free time samba. And I didn't know what I was getting into, because samba is the hardest dance to pick if you're motorically challenged, which I am. I was like a fat kid, and I didn't do any sports. So I'm not very good at like picking up choreography or moving my limbs. But there was so much solidarity from the women there. They were like encouraging you. And samba, I thought it was a sport. It was psychotherapy. Because it just breaks you open, you know, it just like makes you, all your feelings are stored in your like abdominal area, in your gut area. And when you move your hips, and we're told as Europeans, or in our culture, we're told, don't give away too much, don't be promiscuous, you know, don't shake it too much, be neutral, like have a neutral thing. And with the samba, it's very different. It's like, you got to shake it all, like your boobs, your butt. and show that passion. And those women are just as me. They're not promiscuous or something. They just live it. They just show their assets differently, and then they go back to wherever. So have a certain facet of their personality that they are living out. And I wanted to have that. So that to me was Rio as well. And and then it also was home for the pandemic for me. So when I went there for the pandemic as well to write the book, and I didn't know that the pandemic was coming. And everyone said, get out, because, you know, it's Brazil and there's an unstable government, and you don't know how it's going to be and what are you going to do about health insurance. But I met like so many people that just gave me the feeling, no matter what, we can handle this. It's like the world is sailing through the same storm, so no port seems to be more secure or not. And Rio to me was, my landlord said, you're always going to have a place to live. And my Samba teacher said, we're going to do Samba lessons online. And I was like, and the supermarkets were full. And so Rio gave me a home when I needed a home. I feel like I need to give back to that community and also do something there with homelessness and hunger and stuff that's going on there. And so my big goal, and we need to have goals and dreams, and in order to make them happen, is to at some point be able to buy an apartment there, not to be there forever, but it's a good home base. I think I want to be home base at some point.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. And speaking of the pandemic, I think it's always so different from what we, especially here in Europe, get over the news in the media, like a tiny fragment, and what the actual life is there. I hear it from everybody, from all my friends over the place, even from my friends in Brazil. Mm-hmm. Life is different there than what we see on the news.
It is. And in Rio, I never saw those, you know, mass graves, or I never saw those. I'm not doubting that it does exist, but in my bubble in Rio, it didn't exist. And I never had a shortage of food, or, you know, people were lining up in the supermarkets for toilet paper. Never happened.
It happened in Austria.
It happened in Austria, and even here, and I realized that I'm living in a different reality, and that people sometimes say, what are you talking about? But everyone has a different reality with that Corona thing. Like in Mexico right now, it's a lot differently handled. Not saying that it is handled well. I'm just saying it's differently handled. And their life also here is a lot outside. I'm hardly ever indoors. Like I'm indoors for working, but all the restaurants are outside. There's like hiking constantly if you're by the beach, and it's just too hot to be inside. So of course that's a different way of living with Corona, because when you're outside, you have more places to social distance and not get that close. So I realized when I talk to friends and family that it's just, they experienced something different in the past year than I have.
Definitely. I'm sure that's true. And we're also keen on traveling again. And
you will.
I can't wait. And until then, we read your books.
Okay.
I have to ask you, Waltraud, if you can tell us what's next. What's after Mexico? What's coming up?
I'm going to Colombia in 10 days, mainly because my visa is running out in Mexico. So Mexico gives a 6-month visa, and I don't want to do the visa run and come back, because I think I've seen my fair share of Mexico. So I'm going to Cartagena in Colombia, which is in the Caribbean coast of Colombia. I have a friend there that I met in Rio. She's living there as an expat, so that might be an easier start. And I'm going to stay there for 2 months and see in July how things are going, where I can go, where I want to go. And it's not about, for me, right? I think one thing that I learned about traveling is not about where you go, it's why you go. And if you have answered the why, then the where is easily found. So my why for Colombia is I want to learn Spanish. I could have done that in Mexico too, but I was busy doing other things. And I want to get more into the expat community and learn more about them. And since I have my friend there, it's an easy start. And my why in 2 months might be a different one. So that's why my where will be differently.
Mm-hmm. So for everyone listening in, where would be the best place to follow along your travels? Is it your blog? Is it on Instagram? Where do you share the most?
I don't do much on my blog right now because I do so much paid work, so to speak, and I don't have time to do the blog. So it's mostly Instagram or Facebook. I'm more active on Instagram because it's easier. You just download photos. And there's also my website where you can follow. But I'm trying to be better on the blog, because now that the book is done and everything, I need to update, but I feel like I'm so behind and I haven't done so much that it takes a load of work to fill everyone in where I am and where I'm at right now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Like with every talk, Waltraud, we have a goodie for our community, right? For our giveaways. And it will be one of your new books, right? That we can.
It will be für alles die Welt. I don't know if you want to make a question or like anyone has to answer. Just whoever might be in need of it. I really
we're gonna just we see what the comments will bring. Usually, since this is on a timeline, we also put it in a group. We're gonna give it away in the group of Magnetic Marketing and Mindset. Just comment on the video why you need this book. I think there's like 101 reasons. And we will pick a lucky winner out of the comments, out of the feedback. Waltraud, one last advice to all of us. Let's say most of us are in Austria, but we also have listeners in all over the world, US, Australia, New Zealand. I know they're tuning in later on, they're sleeping now, they're watching the replay. What's your advice to us to take a first step towards our dreams we have?
Well, ask yourself, make a list of dreams. There's going to be a lot of dreams on there. Like it might be small dreams, big dreams. I had like 25 on there first, and then ask yourself which one sparks the biggest joy and passion, the excitement, which one really makes, you know, that giddy feeling, and go for that one. And then try to learn as much about that dream. Is it really your dream? Is it what do you have to do to realize to make it come true? And if the dream is traveling, or if the dream is traveling, is living a nomad lifestyle, then you better start saving money up first, because you know that thing with I just go and earn my money on the way, it's not going to work. So you need a bit of money in order to feel safe. I like say at least you should be able to fund a half a year of traveling in order to be able to do it. It's even better to do a year, because that gives you the freedom to try out new things and really find your way. When you're super pressed on your finances and you know you're forced to stay in shitty accommodations or take on weird free volunteering work that you don't really like and you have no way out, then you're trapped in another one. So do yourself the favor. I'm not saying that dreams always need money, not at all. Sometimes they just need the right attitude. But if your dream is traveling long-term or living a nomad lifestyle, then get into the mindset and just try to fund your dreams. And this doesn't mean that you have to starve yourself. Everyone can save. You would be amazed on how much money you can save of not like, you know, like regular stuff. Might be your daily coffee, might be your frustration shopping, you know, retail therapy, that you just say, oh, I don't need that blouse because that blouse is going to get me somewhere else. It's also putting just very consciously money aside. Everyone can do it. And I know it's harder now with Corona, and I totally get that situation is tight. But just to give you a prospect, it took me quite a few years to build up that I could do it, but it's so worth it.
Thank you so much. This is amazing advice, really some gold nuggets. I have to re-listen to our whole talk again. And Waltraud, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
What's the temperature like and what's the weather like at your place?
I'm sweating. I didn't put the air conditioner on. We're having like 30 degrees and in Puerto Vallarta, it's not rainy season yet. So they haven't seen rain in a few months. It's going to start in 6 weeks or so. But it's very sunny, very warm, very dry, but green. I like it. It's a good place to be right now.
Okay, beautiful. We've seen rain. We've seen lots of snow this season.
I heard, yeah.
Hopefully we're approaching summer now and we can have some sunshine too. Waltraud, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.